Welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I'm here with a new friend that I met over the last couple of weeks, Miss Christina Avila, and we're going to talk a little bit about promoting bands and PR and the like. So, welcome, Christina. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm plugging away. I'm plugging away. So, I guess you and I met, I don't know, a few weeks ago.
hmm
I don't know if it was well, I mean, what you reached out to me because you had some bands you were representing. So I guess what prompted that?
Um, I guess more interviews for the newer musicians I'm working with. For myself, for anyone who doesn't know about me, how I started, what I do. Um, yeah, that's it.
Okay, so obviously you represent a number of artists, but tell my viewers how you get into business because everybody knows like the business of PR and the business of music. It seems like fun, but it's a lot of work, and people don't realize the amount of work it can be. You deal with everything from temperamental artists to people that just don't feel like doing things from time to time. So, how'd you get your start? And maybe name a couple of people you represent.
Well, I started, I've been doing it 4.5 years on a serious note. I lost my dad 13 years ago, and then I lost my mom 4 years ago. And music was always big in my family. My dad was Cuban, my mom was Arab American, and I have three older sisters. And one that's closest to me in age was living at home. We grew up with American Bandstand, Soul Train, Solid Gold, all kinds of music. My dad and my mom love the big bands, the doo-wop, Motown. Um, so I guess after losing my dad, I wanted to do something in honor of him. And then recently, my mom with the pandemic, that's when I started to watch documentaries. I did some online classes. Um, and that's just how it's been taking off. When I first started, though, I wouldn't consider it to be serious. I learned a lot. And the one thing that I can definitely tell people, don't worry about fitting in. Don't worry about if people like you or not. There's always going to be those people. So when my mom got sick, I took 7 months off. And after the pandemic, when I was still at home, well, after I lost her, just trying to look for something to do to keep busy. And that's when I did watch some documentaries, talk to some musicians, local musicians. My cousin Jimmy McDowell, the first band that I ever supported and supported me was called Shiver. They were our local cover band, but they were like family. And now I'm working with a band called Flannel Cloud Masses. I'm helping them for the last 4 years. They've been my advisors of what to do and what not to do. And because of all that knowledge, I'm working with some phenomenal, phenomenal people. And
So, and you're based out of where?
I'm in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Fairfield, right? And I knew that. I wanted my viewers to know that because I have my father's side of the family. I had an uncle who was in Camden, and then another uncle I think I told you was in Hartford. So I
Right.
have connections there. And the wonderful Matt Starr that plays drums with Ace Frehley, who's a buddy of mine, lives, I believe, in Camden. It's great country for music, not country music, but it's great country for music. Um, Tell people what the music scene is like in that area.
Um, well, we have a mix. We have some original bands, we have some cover tribute bands. It's a mix. There's even now a country rock band, and they're fairly new. I haven't seen them yet, but the lead singer's name is Bobby Wheeler. He's actually friends with my fiance. They went to school together, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
So, in terms of you mentioned you started 4 years ago, so that'll be in line with, I guess, the pandemic. So, I mean, it's safe to say what you're doing was a pandemic project. Is that kind of came to life and became a an entity of its own? Is that safe to say?
Well, I just wanted to do kind of, I don't know how to say it, but not that I'm not mourning my mom, because certainly my family and I, we couldn't have a service. We still haven't had a service for my mom. Just trying to keep busy between um going through her things. My daughter lives with me. She's almost 30. Just trying to be busy and do something that would make her proud, something that would make my dad proud, something positive. Um, so yeah.
So what you and I do, it's similar but different. So I work with a number of PR people like yourself who contact me. They either find out through networking, or they find out through they see a post or whatever. They have artists they want to get them promotion, and so they contact me to um, talk to them and do interviews. Oftentimes, sometimes I have to go out and hunt people down to get interviews, and other times they're kind of thrown in my lap. Is it a little bit of the same for you? Do you have to hustle to find your clients, or are they coming to you, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. Um, actually, two musicians started the pandemic. His name is Greg Fox. He is a keyboardist, composer, founder of this amazing symphonic rock band. And I happened to listen to their music. And one of the songs that drove me and was called Song of Hope. It's a beautiful song. So I reached out to him and I asked him if he had a promoter, and he said no. I said, well, would you be interested? Well, show me what you can do. So I went on their website, I went on their page, and I just started doing little things. And we've been together, working together for almost 5 years. Another one that I reached out to bluntly was a Norwegian. His name is Stian Pian Thorensen, and he's got a project with 60 musicians worldwide. Same thing, I asked him, do you have a promoter? No. I said, well, were you interested? Well, I'll send you what I have. Let's see what you can do. So I've been collaborating with him, and then probably months later, I've been his USA promoter, and he has musicians from all over the world: United States, Germany, France, Sweden, Norway, London, all over. And it's wonderful. And then Bob Mitchell, I just happened to think it's a funny story about Bob Mitchell. Kind of reminded me of Mark Slaughter, who's one of my favorite frontmen. And he just had this thing that I thought, oh, wow, this would be pretty cool. And his music is very dark, but very heavy, but very good. And one of the songs that I feel that I enjoy from him the most is called Until We Meet Again. And we connected, and we've been working together for almost 4 months. Actually, I'm sorry, 5 months. And there's, if anybody wants to check out my page, there's so many other musicians that are just incredible. Various cover, tribute, original. I'm helping promote Tito Puente Jr. He's a legend of the late great Tito Puente, the percussionist. He's amazing. So he's doing a centennial anniversary of his dad's music. He's just a wonderful guy. And then there's another musician that I'm helping promote named Rico Monaco, and he has a mambo fusion band. And he and Tito were in Connecticut last year. So for my birthday, my fiance and I went to see them, got to meet Rico, and at the end got to meet Tito Puente Jr. And they're just incredible, gifted, humble musicians.
So I'll ask the question because I too promote. Oddly enough, a lot of my promotion doesn't happen in my own backyard; it happens elsewhere. But anything that's done in my backyard, people tend to. I don't know if devalue what I do is necessarily the right thing. However, they don't put maybe a value on it like others do because they don't feel they want to pay for it. Do you feel you run into the same thing in what you're doing?
Sometimes I'm just blessed that I'm able to have good communication with everyone. I was raised old school with respect, morals, values, and communication. And the one thing I tell everyone, communication, whether it's a text, whether it's Facebook message, whether it's a phone call, this way we're both kind of on the same page. And everything's just been going smooth. But we all make mistakes as humans. We forget because we get so busy with families, with work, with other things that sometimes I forget to communicate or they forget to communicate. But in the long run, it's just a great, wonderful thing.
So, I know the answer to this question, but I've said it to people many times before. Sometimes hearing it from another voice will hit it home a little bit I guess, more impactful. But talk about the importance of, scheduling and keeping up your own schedule and making sure that you're organized and maybe having some help doing that.
I don't have a team. I do it all by myself. I'm an educator to a 1.5-year-old full time. And then I'm also a mom. Lately I've been writing everything in my calendar, in my phone, making notes for myself. Um, a lot of, writing notes, or I'll have someone remind me about, this coming up or that coming up. So I try to balance everything out as best as I can. Sometimes I'll ask my daughter or I'll ask my fiance, oh my gosh, something's coming up. Can't remember what it is. And they help remind me also.
I'm fortunate. I have a small team. I have my producer Jason McCorson, and I have my moderator on my social media, which is Lisa Davis, and they pick up a lot of the slack of the little tedious things. Jason certainly. I mean, he's going to take this. I'll be going to have this conversation with you and send it to him. And I like to say he sprinkles the pixie dust on there, and it becomes a real thing. It turns out really really nice. Um, but do you find, I guess, in your line of work that sometimes maybe not having a team where you're doing it all yourself, it can wear you down a little bit?
Sometimes yes, but I try to what's the right word? Prioritize.
Hmm.
I try to prioritize everything. Um, at work, I try to do everything when my little girl's sleeping, when she's taking her nap. If I'm working with musicians overseas, I'll try to do it 6 a.m. my time, which could be 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock their time. Um, just, prioritizing and checking on them. They'll check in on me. Sometimes, they have to write notes, or, oh my gosh, Christina said that I have an interview, or Christina wants me to send her an MP3. So it's all a mix.
Yeah, and you learn as you go. I mean, one of the things that I ask everybody right away is, what time zone are you in? Because I've made that mistake a couple of times, where you're in the Eastern time zone, I'm on Atlantic, so I'm actually an hour ahead of you, which
Hmm.
means Los Angeles is 3 hours from you and 4 hours from me. So it can be, and then if you're doing people overseas, talking to people overseas, I've had to do interviews at midnight to get people, the next day, and it's just things that you have to, do, and people don't
Hmm.
realize. They think, oh, I think the best form of flattery is when somebody tries to do what you're doing because they think it's easy,
Hmm.
and it's because you make it look easy, and it's really not. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yes, definitely.
I have a friend here locally who he uh, he does karaoke, and he said a number of people go out and see him, and then start karaoke themselves, and they figure out that it's a lot more than just showing up and emceeing the event, maybe singing a couple songs. It's the preparation, it's the loading into the gear, it's the relationship with the venue, and some people fall by the wayside, and they miss those little particulars,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
um so in terms of you sent me a number of people on your roster, and how do you say prioritize? Do you prioritize with their cycle of what they have going on, or is there certain ones that you have to deal with differently than others, or how do you make each artist a priority, I guess, in their own way?
Some of them work, some of them full time, some of them work part time, some of them work on the weekends, just depending on their trades, depending on their skill. Um, I try to, meet each and every one on when it's good for them. Vice versa, they'll reach out to me and ask me, when's a good time? Can we contact you? Or the evening's better time, the weekends. And I'm at the point now where the weekends I try to stay focused on my daughter, especially
Right.
not having my mom around, trying to do less of that. Um, and the evenings, if I have to do promotions, will be after 9:30 at night, 9:30 my time, just out because I'm spending time with her at night. Um, I try to do much of it as I can on my lunchtime in the morning, but just a mix of everything.
I personally started getting into a habit of on Thursday nights after 6 o'clock, just putting my phone away and not looking at it till the next day. And not gonna lie, I missed a couple of things that got people wound up. But by the same token, I find every Friday I'm waking up maybe not in a bad mood, and I get a little bit of pep to my step going into the weekend. I don't know if you have to do some things like that. I mean, it sounds like we're both doing the same thing. We're fitting it into the cracks of life, if you will.
Mhm.
But people don't understand that this is something that we do as a business. It's not a cute little sideline fun thing, right?
Right. It is. A lot of people used to think it was a hobby,
Right.
but it's not a hobby. It's a lot of work, but there's so much joy. There's so much happiness from it, especially when they succeed and you succeed. There's a lot of positivity, a lot of great feedback, but certain times, more so now, I just put my phone down. Even 8 o'clock at night, if I'm watching a movie, I put my phone down and I don't look at it till the next day. When I go to bed, shut it off until the next morning, just because I need a good night's sleep. The musicians too, they all have families, they all have work, and who wants to be bothered by somebody at midnight? Everybody's sleeping except if you're working with someone overseas. So I've had to just say no a lot, and it's beneficial for them, and it's beneficial, or vice versa. They've had to tell me, can we not do this today? Can we do it tomorrow? Or can we do it next week? Communication is the key for everything.
That's fair. When you're working with these musicians, do you have kind of a one size fits all, or is it kind of custom to each artist? How do you approach that?
I would say one size fits all. I treat everyone the same. They all treat me the same. Um, we're all just about honesty, respect, values, and communication, open communication about everything.
So if I'm an artist, and actually I have to thank you because you send out a number of very nice posts for myself, for some of the things that I'm up to, some of the things that I'm promoting, and I really appreciate that because not everybody does that. So thank you.
You're
If
welcome.
if there's an artist that I have that's looking for some PR assistance, and if they want to get a hold of you, how are they going to find you? How are they going to make contact?
Okay, so I have a personal Facebook page. My profile picture is of my daughter and myself. And in the background, it's an artist logo. And then I have a business page, which is www.facebook.com/crazycuban, because I am a crazy Cuban. I have an Instagram page, which is at crazycuban73. And I just started a LinkedIn page. So I'm getting familiar with that. I don't have a website, but sooner than later, I'd like to start up a website. And that's the best way anyone can. Oh, my email address too. I have the Christina Avila 41 at gmail.com or crazycuban41 at gmail.com.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that we get to do this, and now that we're in touch, we're flipping things back and forth. And I already interviewed one of your artists. I interviewed Bob Mitchell last night. He was
Nice.
an absolute hoot. We should have that released, I think, tomorrow or Friday.
Okay.
And there's going to be some more that you've sent me that we will definitely be talking to. So, A, I want to thank you for that. B, again, I want to thank you for the promotion you've given me personally. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. And
Thank you.
anything that I can do to help you and yours, you know how to get a hold of me.
Great. Thank you so much. And I want to give you a shout out. And Michelle. Michelle is an incredible vocalist. Wow, is she good. And for all the musicians, there's just so many to name off the top of my head. But you go on my page, you can find all the musicians, all the people that have supported me, my fiance, my daughter, my parents, you, Sean, for supporting me, for helping me. I couldn't do this without amazing people like you. So thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Right back at you there, Christina Avila.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Peace.
Thank you.